My next guest is coming off a TKO victory over Danny Roberts in his UFC debut in London, July 22nd. It is Jonny Parsons back here on the program. Johnny, how are you, man?
I'm doing really well, really well.
I bet. First UFC victory. I know we're a couple days removed. Have you been able to kind of take all this in? You went into enemy territory after a long layoff and got a big win on Saturday.
Yeah, it's still settling in a little bit. I kind of have flashbacks to the moments, and get that rush of excitement. At the same time, like, it's believable. It's also unbelievable. Like, I can't even really put into words. It's really hard.
How did you feel in there? Because I know you've been off for a bit. You talked about some of the health issues you had that had kept you out of the cage. Overall, did you feel like yourself in there? I mean, you got the win, so that's great, but you can kind of look back now and reassess.
Well, it was, I really underestimated the travel. I thought it was going to be okay, but like as the week went on, and I was starting to realize, like, oh man, I'm not sleeping any more than a couple hours at a time. It really started to weigh down on me. I felt like the weight cut was especially hard, and not because not physically hard, just mentally hard. Because I feel like a lot of those things like that, you just have to accept it, and you know what I mean? Like, it's going to be hot. You're going to go through all that, but I just was having trouble focusing during my weight cut, and just like focusing and getting the weight off. But luckily my coaches were there to push me, and we made weight, and the day of the fight, pretty much almost no sleep. Like, I really didn't sleep at all that whole week, and I really underestimated that. But it's just one of those things, like, if someone attacked me on my worst day, I'm not gonna have any excuses. I'm just gonna, I'm gonna have to do what I got to do. And then that was kind of what I told myself. Like, that whole day, I was like, man, I just felt like crap in the back before the fight. I felt like crap. Like, I kind of had this weird tingliness going down my back, and also, I don't know if it's because the weight cut Friday morning, with the weight cut, I was dry heaving really bad, and for whatever reason, that caused my chest and my neck to be very, very sore. So like all Friday after weigh-ins, and then all Saturday, like, my chest was very sore. Like, good thing he didn't punch me right in my chest, because I had a very, very sore chest. And but it's just one of those things, like, especially right before I had to walk out, I told myself, it's like, man, this is life. Not everything's gonna be perfect, but nothing changes. I have to step in there, and I have to fight. So kind of put all that past me, and even before it was time to walk out, I was already focused and dialed in.
Good for you, man. It must make the victory that much sweeter, knowing what you had to go through. Like, that's a lot for people to deal with, not getting any sleep. But you got to get your 8 hours. Do you think it was just the time change, or what sort of made you, feel like, I don't know if you can kind of look back and say, what would I have done differently? Like what sort of caused it, do you think?
Yeah, I just feel like I underestimated it. Like, the first couple nights, when I first got out there, Sunday, the week before. And I stayed up, and I thought, like, all right, well, I'll stay up and I'll go to sleep the regular time, like, out there, and I'll be okay. And maybe, like, the first night I slept pretty decent, but then as the week went on, it just got worse and worse and worse, where, like, I just wouldn't stay asleep. And, like, it'd be 3 o'clock in the morning, and I'd be wide awake, being like, dang, this is a lot tougher than I thought it was going to be. But yeah, but I wouldn't change a thing. Like, it was so great to go out to London. Man, the UK fans are awesome. There was one point where there was, like, a little bit of booing going on, but that wasn't against me. Bruce Buffer's mic wasn't working.
Oh, okay, gotcha. So that's good.
They happened to be booing the same time that was kind of showing me on the screen, but it was really because they saw Bruce Buffer trying to announce, and they knew the mic wasn't working. That's why they started booing. But yeah, I feel like I got a lot of love from the UK fans, so it was amazing. I'd love to fight in London again in the future.
What about Danny as an opponent? Did anything surprise you in the fight?
He was really strong in the grappling exchanges, and so that definitely put a little bit of hesitation, because in different moments where we were tied up, I was asking myself, like, do I want to invest the energy into this? And there was in the second round, the first time I dropped him, I tried to follow up with some ground and pound. I ended up settling in his guard. And then once he got a hold of me, I was like, dang, like he's gonna recover. Like, he feels very strong. So he was really strong in the grappling. I knew he was more of a striker, but definitely I was surprised of how strong he felt when we tied up. But yeah, the fight is kind of exactly how I expected. The fight went that way.
Ref steps in, fight's over. What's going through your head? Because again, it was a long journey, and then even adding all this other stuff, like you mentioned, the sleep and everything. What's going through your head at that point?
Oh man, like I was just, I was ready to fight a third round if needed.
Yeah.
But like that whole second half of the second round was just kind of like a grueling pace, because I tried to stay calm, but there was times where he was rocked, and it was kind of this tense feeling of like, oh, I got to finish him, and I wish I would have played my cards smarter in that sense, and just conserved a little bit more energy. Like I think the excitement of dropping him and stuff kind of like really raised my heart rate up, and I wasn't thinking as clearly as you want to be thinking in a fight like that.
How do you celebrate after a win like that?
I had some Five Guys. And to be 100% honest, everything I went through with my head injury in the past, I know that alcohol is really not good for any kind of like head injuries and stuff. And, we got fight of the night. So it wasn't like I got out of there without taking any hits myself. So I felt great. I didn't have any like headaches or anything, but I definitely didn't want to push the envelope by like having a bunch of drinks after the fight, because according to the PI staff, alcohol does not mix with concussions, and you should just avoid it. If you have any kind of head injuries or headaches or anything, like you got to avoid alcohol.
Interesting. What do they say about marijuana? Is it better for you or no?
Yeah, I don't think they have too much of a problem with that. So
there you go. So
I celebrated a little bit,
right?
So.
There you go. That's awesome. And you got a bonus, man. It's always great to get the win money, but the bonus as well. What are you going to be doing with the money?
Saving it.
Nice.
Saving it as much as possible. During this time where I was, coaching is a lot of my income, but it takes a lot out of you. Coaching takes a lot out of you, and I still plan on coaching, but with this money saved up, I hopefully I won't have to spend so many hours a week, because teaching class is one thing, but also like doing private lessons and holding pads for people, that wears a toll on your body, and takes up time, having to schedule lessons out and things like that, and holding pads can be pretty rough. So I've during this fight camp, I raised my price a little bit, and I lost some of my customers, but it was like, moving forward, it's like if anyone wants to train with me, it's going to be a certain price, and if they really want to train with me, they'll be willing to pay that price, and then it'll kind of work both ways, where it'll free up my time a little bit, and then if I am going to train someone, it'll be more worth my time.
There you go. Know your worth. I love it. What about the feedback from the fans on social media? Again, a lot of people love that fight. I'm sure you got not only the UK fans, but I'm sure just worldwide getting people reaching out and giving you props.
Oh yeah, it's been awesome. It's been awesome. Overwhelming. An overwhelming amount of support, and it's nice to know, like, people I know from high school that have always kind of like tuned in and like checked out. Like it's so nice to like see the same people that have supported me 13 years ago. They're still out there rooting for me, so it means so much. I believe in myself, but it's like the amount of people that just believe in me and have no doubts in their mind every time I step in there. They're so confident in me, man. Like, it gives me power.
I know you just got back from London. When are you looking to fight again? When would you like to get that next one in?
Man, I was looking at the calendar, not including this week. It's about 12 weeks from next week to October 21st in Abu Dhabi. As much as I talked about not sleeping very well on this trip, man, I'd really love to fight in Abu Dhabi.
Okay.
I'd love to make that trip. As much as possible, I really would like to fight, fight overseas and do things like that. And at least, while I'm young and I hear it from people that eventually get burnt out on fighting overseas, but I'm not at that point yet. So, while the traveling is still fun, I'd like to do some more fights out of the country. That would be the dream.
Any opponents of mine, or you just kind of leave that up to your coaches?
Yeah, if I would ever return to London, I would like to fight MVP in London.
There you go. Okay.
So that'd be a big one. I think, I don't know. He was there that night. I think there's a good chance. He'll be in the UFC. So
I think so. I don't think they would have shown him on the broadcast unless they were going to sign him. So that's my theory on that. So we'll see if that ends up coming to fruition. And before we go, man, what do you got planned the rest of the week? I know you're doing a bit of media. You got anything planned? Because again, I know during fight camp you kind of neglect a lot of things.
Yeah, I would say the biggest thing is it's almost time for the kids to go back to school. So I'm spending time with the kids, doing some stuff with them. My youngest son's birthday was actually last Monday, and I was in London, so I owe him some time for sure. And we're probably gonna go to like a trampoline park this week.
Nice, good call. Those are always good. The trampoline parks, kids can play, and they're so tired by the end of the day that they usually crash. So it's a good combo.
The only reason we haven't went yet is because I'm still sore from the fight. So I want to have fun too. So
of course, it's just as fun for the adults, 100%. Yeah.
But that place. I never seen my kids take so many water breaks in my life. But when we're at the jump park, at the trampoline park, man, they're like, all right, Dad, we need water.
Yeah, no, you gotta pack. You gotta pack a lot of water for that one. It's a lot of activity, which is great. Kind of like your fight, Jonny. Really appreciate it, man. We're looking forward to the next one. If there's anyone you want to thank before we get out of here, any sponsors, any social media, I'll give you the last word.
First of all, I want to thank the Performance Institute. Without their support, I really don't even know where I'd be. Especially coming back from my injury. The support from the Performance Institute, really, I almost want to give them, so much credit for the performance because, I don't know if I, even would have made it to another fight without the help of the Performance Institute. So I want to thank everyone there. My gym syndicate. Also, I've been doing some training at One Kicks, so shout out to them as well. Champ X Meals, helping me out with food. I get the food from the PI as well, but it's nice to also like get some other support as far as like food and stuff like that. So I want to thank them, and that's about it.